Welcome to the Tuesday Night Football Show, you guys. Great to have you back with us. Another exciting week in the NFL. First off, I want to say happy Veterans Day. There's a lot of military people out there, and they deserve a whole bunch of love. If you have someone in the military that's in your family, give them a big hug, or at least send them a text message. Come on, you guys. But let's get down to the weekly recap. What do we got first, Angell?
Angell, I'm back, guys. Welcome back.
Yeah, bro. How was Yosemite?
It was trash. It was.
Bro, we haven't gotten to that yet.
That should probably be my
that for
topic
the end,
for
bro.
night.
Damn.
Bro, it was brutal, and I'll tell you why it was so brutal. Like we slept in tents, right? We didn't do the cabin thing. We didn't do the RV thing. We're in tents. It's 28 degrees.
I love that, though.
It's
connecting with the universe.
Yeah, I was connecting with not feeling the bottom half of my body. It was 28 degrees the first night. Second night, it was 32 degrees. Third night, I was in a hotel. I'm not going to lie to you.
Honestly, that's how camping's meant to be done, out in the wilderness. Just, come on now.
Just
You
relaxing,
don't want to be in a cabin.
Freezing cold.
Yes.
Can't feel your body.
That's what the bonfire's for.
Yeah.
I love that you capped it off with the hotel stay at the end.
Did you at least
build the camp? We had the
camp. We had the camp. We did the fire. We did s'mores. Like, we did the whole hot dog on a stick over the open flame thing. We did the full-on thing.
There you go.
I'm not built for that, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not built for that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm fat, but my skin still feels the cold. It's not good.
Not fat, just big-bodied. Big-bodied.
Okay.
Big bone.
Welcome back, my friend.
Big
Get it
bone.
started.
Okay, so I'm going to get you
go.
started right now. I'm going to talk about Baltimore, Cincinnati. Can you believe...
Spicy.
Oh, that was spicy.
It was.
You had two quarterbacks basically threw over 300 yards. One of them had over 400 yards. They both threw 4 touchdowns. You had a receiver that had 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. And the team with the better points, not points, but stats, yards, everything, they lost. Cincinnati lost to Baltimore. It was a game of games. I think it was the best game of the weekend, but
Honestly, I
wrong.
think that there's no doubt that it was the game of the week. I mean,
Definitely.
Chase went absolutely nuts.
Bonkers. Yeah.
I know we talk about Lamar, we talk about Burrow, but Chase, oh my goodness gracious. He has now 10 touchdowns on the year. That's 3 more than everybody else. Quietly, Kittle and Amon-Ra St. Brown are right up there with 7, but Chase is still taking that.
Chase was
#1.
in like disbelief after the game when he was being interviewed. He was like, I just don't understand. Like, what do we have to do to win a game?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
we are going absolutely insane as far as stat-wise and just playing defense and everything, and they cannot win.
No.
They cannot win.
Because I saw a thing, too, where Joe Burrow was doing his press conference. He's like, I'm playing out of my mind. He's an MVP candidate, potentially. We'll see. Jamar Chase, he's having a stellar year. Trey Hendrickson's having a great year on defense, and somehow they're losing games. It's like these 3 guys are basically carrying the entire squad.
But you know what I will say, though? The Bengals screwed themselves by not signing him to a long-term contract before he went on this ridiculous run.
the price tag went up.
It went up, like,
Oh, yeah. They shot themselves in the foot. 'Cause now they're really going to have to pay. They didn't want to
Absolutely.
pay before, but now
They
you're going
really
to let
don't
that guy
want it,
go, or you're going to franchise him. Like, that reminds me of the whole Kirk Cousins thing with Washington. Washington didn't want to pay him, and for 2.5, almost 3 years, we kept him on the franchise tag. Kept having to pay him more and more. This man's making like $30+ million a year, and then we just let him go because we couldn't franchise him anymore, and he refused to sign. Bengals, listen to what I'm going to tell you. Don't be Washington. We were dumb back in the day. We're great now, but we were dumb back in the day. Do not be Washington.
Jerry Jones kind of saved himself from that situation. Signing CD.
Yeah, by signing CD.
Yeah, definitely.
The one good move he made.
Yeah, the
Should
one
have
good
been
move.
sooner, though.
No,
But-
it definitely should have been sooner.
Mingo.
Mingo the
Can
GOAT.
we- all
You
right,
know, that
let's-
is going down in history, I believe, as one of the worst possible trade deadline moves ever for a 4th-round pick.
That was pretty bad.
To
yeah.
say that you're a competitive NFL team and then go out and that's what you sign, like, are you kidding me? That just shows
Now,
your
don't get
entire
us wrong,
fan base.
Mingo. You're probably an awesome dude.
He's
You're
solid.
not.
He's
You're
solid.
trash.
He's not bad. He's solid.
No,
Um,
I'm sure he's a cool dude, but with all the pressure going on in Dallas
it's a rough
and
situation.
what they gave up for you, I know you're still young in your career, so don't take it as hate going
Because it's
your
always
way.
going to go
It's
down
just-
as you could have signed Derrick Henry.
Yeah, they could have had Derrick Henry. They
Coulda
could have
had
had
Derrick
D-Hop.
Henry.
They could have had all these crazy guys, and they got Zeke and Jonathan Mingo. Hey, what a great turnaround for the Cowboys.
All right, let's keep the train moving, you guys. Weekly recap.
Yeah, but the game I want to talk about this week, probably the most I don't even know how to describe this game. Lions, Texans. How in the world are the Texans up 17 points in the second half? Jared Goff has thrown 5 interceptions. When going into this game, he's only thrown 4. I mean, they're basically playing 2024's Nathan Peterman this week, and they lose the game. 19 unanswered points, walk-off field goal by Jake Bates. What are we doing? I mean, the Texans last year, they were a dark horse Super Bowl candidate, and this year they're kind of falling apart. What is going on? I mean, CJ Stroud's getting bounced around every week, and they can't win a game when the quarterback's thrown 5 interceptions.
The
It's
sophomore
pathetic.
slump is real.
Well, first of all, don't ever say the name Nathan Peterman on the show again. That's like what is your favorite from 49ers history? The quarterback.
Steve Young.
No. The infamous, the one that you always hate, that's always brought up all the time.
Oh, I can't bring him up on this show. Stop it, Muffins. No, I will. Nick Garbage Mullins.
Yeah. We don't talk about Nick Mullins, but you know,
I don't like Nick Mullins. I'm sorry, Nick. You're probably a nice guy too. But
he's a chill guy. He just didn't play very well for us. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Jared Goff was an MVP candidate going into this game, and he single-handedly chucked that out the window. I think he's out of the conversation entirely, completely.
Well,
Really? Out of the
I'm no longer a fan of Jared
5
Goff.
5
He
picks.
single-handedly lost me my week of fantasy.
So no, this is exactly why he's still in the conversation, because he threw 5 interceptions. He was down. He proved that not only can he rally his troops and bring them back from probably what looked like a blowout at first, and you led him back to a victory. And now I'm not going to say they led him back to a victory over in a dynamic team. Like if he did this against the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, then I'd be like, you know
Niners.
what?
Washington.
All right, let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. If he get it against a great team like that, I'd be like, wow, this is probably not your front runner, but he's definitely up there, top 3, of course. But the fact that they were so far behind, five interceptions, and he still found a way to win. The Lions found a way to win, even
Right.
down. What can't they do?
Yeah,
that
I
was
think-
pretty impressive. I think Houston's definitely bleeding right now, missing all those
Yeah, they're missing so
stud
many
wide
guys.
receivers.
Yeah, Nico Collins, who's coming back, I think. Stephon Diggs out for the year. I mean, yeah, they're kind of beat up a little bit, and it's not looking great. But I think, like you said, yeah, if this was against a better team, I think he would be more so in the conversation. But considering they beat a team that isn't exactly 100% right now, I mean, yes, it was a great final drive, putting him in field goal range. But you can't throw 5 interceptions in a single game and still be considered. I think even if Patrick Mahomes had done that, I don't think he'd be as heavy in the conversation.
The only thing that saves him, honestly, is the fact that they won.
Yeah,
Like you said, he did rally him back, get him down the field, get him in field goal range, and they won the game. If they'd have lost, then I would say he's out of the conversation.
What's the kicker's name?
Jake Bates.
He's like, I no longer have to sell bricks a day in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A year and a half ago, he was like, I don't know if I'm done with football. I'm selling
That's what I'm
bricks.
saying.
Like,
That's
he
the
was
only
done.
thing.
That was some great commentary, though.
That's the only
Oh,
thing
this
that
guy
saved
came
him.
from he was selling bricks last year, and now he's kicking NFL field goals.
Winning
He
games.
said
Yes.
something like that.
He
Sounded
never,
crazy.
he never kicked one in college. Not one single field goal his entire college career, and now he's kicking 50, 60 yarders every week, which is
He's
crazy.
got a leg.
He's
That
got
kid's
a leg, man.
though.
He's killing it.
All right, you guys. First and foremost, before I start off with mine, I would like to apologize to everybody watching this show. I had probably the worst possible week I could have. I picked the Bucks to win. They did not. I picked Jets to win. They did not. Jesus. Who else did I pick? That's what I don't even remember. My boom. All right, my boom was Neighbors. He didn't have a bad game, but he could have had a better game. My bust was Kelsey. He had a great game. So as a whole, from top to bottom, I had a terrible week, but I'm still 9-1 in fantasy, so all is not lost.
Who's that one loss again? Who is it? I forget.
Against that team who had his entire team pop off all at once for the first time in franchise history.
I mean, hey,
But you never know. But I'm gonna go ahead and open up with the Eagles Cowboys. Are we shocked? Me and Angell are gonna have some spicy heat this week.
Spicy.
But Jalen Hurts having another great game. 4 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing. AJ Brown over 100 yards. I don't know what is going on with Saquon. Like, I see him in, but then I see him like at random times just exiting the game. He did it last week too. And Earl, he dropped it in the chat that he was like, "Oh, I think he's just going to take a doo-doo." But I'm like, no. So I need some serious answers. Why do they keep taking him out at random times? I'm like, is he hurt? I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm starting to get a little irritated with that. But again, another shellacking. Even though it was by the Cooper Rush led Cowboys, the Eagles did it again. They're gonna do it again on Thursday. Let's not make any mistake about. You can look at me sideways all you want, sir, but it's not
Listen,
gonna.
hey, you know what?
we just started the show, So I got a whole nother 40 minutes to get on you about what's going to happen on Thursday. So I'm going to let you have your little moment, talk your little trash, but we both know what's going to happen on Thursday.
Well, since you have so much, go ahead. Go to your next one. Go to your next one.
That ass on Thursday. No. But let me go to my next one. I'm going to talk about Pittsburgh, Washington. Washington lost. Russ was cooking. Daniels needs to play better.
It's a great game, by the way.
It was a good game, but we lost the game.
Was Russ cooking, by the way?
He was cooking enough to beat us. He scored those touchdowns.
I'm like, he only completed 14 passes. I think it was his team that was cooking.
Bro, he threw three touchdowns.
He gives them a chance.
Yeah,
he throws those nice little pretty floaters.
Trust me, he threw 3 touchdowns.
Russ was cooking.
My quarterback didn't throw not one. Washington, we are missing some players, but that's not an excuse to lose a game when you're up in the fourth quarter in the last couple minutes. Our defense just needs to play better. Like,
shout out to Mike Williams, though. Mike Williams, his first game on the team, he scored the game winner.
Yeah, he did.
He looked pretty good.
Thrown by who? Russ, who was cooking.
Now, keep in mind why the Commanders really lost that game.
Tell me.
They were, it was at the line of scrimmage, right? They jumped off sides on 4th down and got 5 yards.
But that's not why we lost. If you really want to know why we lost,
they were able to run the clock out after that.
Because our DBs don't know how to play defense. Like, I don't understand. You're a veteran DB and you get on a 2-way move, you get lost. Like, you get flipped all the way around, and the guy, Mike Williams, just walks past you. And it was a nice throw by Russ. It was really a nice catch. It was a better catch than a throw, but the catch was nice.
He underestimated him, and he paid the price.
He did. He paid the price, and we lost the game by a point.
Just a savvy move by Mike Tomlin, though. You know, you always watch the games, and you see them trying to draw the defense off sides, and you're like, man, why don't they just go to the next play already? It worked this time.
No, it worked.
They got the jump. They got that 5 yards. They got the first down, and just ran the clock right out. And it was a little trickery, too. It wasn't just a conventional way. So shout out to Mike Tomlin figuring out a way to get these guys to jump.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Tomlin, give us a call. Let us know what happened.
Shit. Yeah.
I like it.
But yeah, I'm going to go into my second game this week. This one pissed me off more than any game this week. Chiefs-Broncos. How do the Chiefs keep getting away with this every week? They are so close to losing every single week, and yet somehow one thing happens and they win it. I mean, a blocked field goal. It looked like the lineman didn't even try to block Karlaftis.
They fell. They
bulldozed
fell over. Both of them just fell over without being touched. It was like,
he just bulldozed them. I mean, the lineman's head never even got up. He was never even in his stance. He was still staring at the ground. Like, what are you doing as an NFL lineman on a game-winning play like that? And you're just getting bulldozed. It was amazing. Embarrassing.
This is amazing, though, because
embarrassing.
Those are one of those things like, man, we need the block. We need the block. We need the block. Oh, we're not going to get the block. And then you get a block, and it's like, everything is falling the Chiefs' way. Everything is falling.
People say it's the team of destiny or the team of referees. So, I don't really know what it is, but I just hate for it to end like that. I was like, that was supposed to be their first loss, and I know John's super mad because John picked them in the upset.
I did pick the Broncos to upset the Chiefs, and I was so close.
Like, I want to give you like an honorary half point because they should have won that game. Mm-hmm. But it's,
Can you imagine having a terrible day?
If you'd have picked the points, if you'd have picked Denver and picked the points, you would have hit. Because I'm sure they had the Chiefs blowing out Denver, something like that, and then you lose by 2 points? Mm-hmm. So if you'd have picked the points on that game, good job, guys. Good job if you picked the points.
Yeah, man, I'm tired of the Chiefs, man. I hate it.
So, all right, since we're tired of that, I'll move on to Dolphins Rams, last night's game. Did anyone happen to catch that?
I was watching bits and pieces of it. It was pretty interesting.
It was less explosive than I was hoping for. That was my fire bet pick.
I mean, 23-15, it wasn't too bad, but it was a ridiculous amount of turnovers. I think once they started the second quarter, I mean, it was like everything I was watching was fumble, interception, fumble. And I'm like, what in the actual F is going on right now?
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea what the hell was going on. And then Waddle, where the hell has Jalen Waddle been at for the last couple years? I mean, it feels like years, but it's only been this 1 year. But where has Waddle been at? He's dropping passes. He looks like he doesn't want to play.
He looks like he's not really into what's going on in Miami.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I feel like it's time. When you start getting, and he's a primetime player. Like Jalen Waddle, he's a primetime player, but his body language is off. He just looks like, why am I here type deal. You know what I mean? So it almost might be time for him to go.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna. I think he's one of the the rookies from a few years ago that haven't been re-signed yet.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll franchise him. But what I will say is,
It'll be
another
loss.
team will pick him up.
Oh, it'll be
Another
a
team will
loss.
definitely pick him up.
Definitely pick him up.
Having another good game though. I mean, 20 for 28. Can't deny that, man. He brings so much to that team. I always called him Noodle Arm when he was drafted because it looked like he couldn't throw the ball, but he has that leadership ability more so than he has the powerful arm.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like he's absolutely the leader of that team. Tyreek can't have a good game without him. Waddle can't have a good game without him. Achane can't have a good game without him. The defense seems to not have any heart when they're not in the same when they're not in the same game.
Right.
But
yeah.
And then Cooper Kupp. Man,
Stop
shout out.
it.
Come up.
Stop
Can we stop?
He's glazing.
Come
He's glazing.
on.
He's glazing
I'm
again.
not
Hold on.
glazing nothing. Can
Show
we
us the tattoo.
I think he's gonna get it
Cooper Kupp.
retatted. He tried to get it erased, but they're still outlined.
The man is dynamic. He's first and foremost, he's the best blocking receiver in the game. He's the best route runner in the game, and he's probably
not the best route
He is the
runner.
best route runner in the game.
No,
Look
he's
it up.
not.
Look it up. Best route runner in the game, and the man doesn't drop passes. The man gets slacked. And let's not talk about the ridiculous amount of heart that he shows every single play.
Stop it. Don't no more want to hear about that. All right, we're moving on. I'm going to talk about my last team. It was probably the worst game of the weekend, the Giants, Carolina. Really? Bryce Young, he didn't suck. He didn't play good. He threw a touchdown. I guess we should be happy about that.
He looked happy though.
Yeah, he looked like
He was having fun.
he looked like that little break that, being benched didn't actually hurt him like most people thought it would. You know what I mean? He kind of, his body language was up. You could tell his leadership was going, but let's be real. The Giants, Carolina, by far, probably the most boringest game of the weekend.
Well, since you're not going to take it, I am. Let's talk about the Jets. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They literally have no single excuse left in the book. They have an all-star receiving crew. They got Aaron Rodgers, the man, right? And they
He's a
just
bad
can't even
man.
score a touchdown, man. It's kind of getting ridiculous.
They did
nothing.
nothing. Bad, man.
He's making himself, I think he's kind of, do you guys feel like he's tarnishing his legacy a little bit here this last season?
A
No,
little.
I mean,
Because he got his coach fired. He got them to do a trade. He's basically running that whole organization.
I would
and they
agree
haven't
with
won
you.
a game.
I would
since.
agree with you with that because literally when you get everything that you want, everything that you want,
And
you
you
want it out of
still
Green
don't
Bay,
win?
got out of Green Bay. You want to go to the Jets, went to the Jets. You got your receiver who had left Green Bay, went to another team, and then you got him to come to the team that you're at, and you guys are still trash. Like
trash.
Garbage.
I'm gonna use I was at the barber shop earlier today, if you guys can tell.
fresh
This
fade.
this actually came up.
Stamos haircut.
Fresh
know, right?
fade. They need him out here, ladies.
This actually came up in the barber shop. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers, and he just looks like the guy, doesn't invite none of his teammates to a barbecue at his house.
No
You
one
know,
wants to come over.
Probably distant. Just Devontae, just him and Devontae there.
Just hanging out.
I just think there's just some gap there of him connecting with the younger.
Yeah.
That's what it
younger
is. Oh, it's
people.
definitely
And-
a disconnect. You
Yeah.
can tell there's a disconnect.
Yeah, and that's what was happening his last year in Green Bay when they had Christian Watson and all these young guys. He did not talk to them basically at all outside of practice. Like he was just by himself the
Yeah.
whole time. But for me, the last game that I want to talk about, Niners Bucks. Man, first of all, Jake Moody. I understand you're coming off an injury. I understand this 100%. How you cannot miss that many field goals in a game. Like I understand it's an ankle injury, but and you're a kicker. I understand. I get that. It still made me
it was
very
his
sad.
kicking ankle too,
Yes.
by the way.
But that's the thing. If you're
That
not
still
healthy
hurts.
and you don't have the faith in yourself to make these kicks, don't be in the game.
Yeah.
Well, I
He
just
was
want.
healthy enough to.
I have an opinion about that. It's just like if you're a wide receiver and you don't go play, if you're not practicing for 4 straight weeks, you're probably gonna drop a couple passes. It's not like he has that many times for redemption either.
Right.
He has to go out there, during these long spurts of sitting on the bench, come out there and try to knock one through. It's a little bit of pressure, but I like how he stepped up at the
But
end.
did you see
the game winner.
Baker Mayfield move in that game? The little 360 throw
He was
on the
moving.
button.
Baker's a dog,
Baker's
man.
man.
He also clotheslined Bosa for like 6.5 yards. That was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Why not grab his arm and just pull him down?
I don't know if he was
was
trying
hand-holding.
to avoid something, but it didn't look like he was almost trying to tackle him.
Honestly, though, it was really hot over there. It was
Yeah.
like 95 degrees plus. I think all these players were just really tired at that time. And that was
Yeah.
late in the game. You can see Bosa grabbing his hips.
Yeah, he's
he was
exhausted.
struggling to breathe. I think it was more just exhaustion.
But overall, like Baker Mayfield did have a bad game. He only had 116 passing yards,
Yeah,
guys. Like,
not
so
great.
he
that was
was
my bust for the week.
making the strength plays, but his overall passing yard needed to be there. But hey, shout out
Who's he got to
to
throw it to?
Pearsall making his first ever
Yes.
career touchdown.
46-yard snag, man. It was
We
beautiful.
gotta give a little.
We gotta give a little clap to him.
He was
Give a little-
once. He was shot in the chest. Okay, during training camp, I believe.
Yeah.
Two days later, he's in the weight room, and now he's catching his first touchdown. This guy's a Niner Bay Area legend already.
Bay
I'm
Area
surprised.
legend.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. He basically
I love it.
he basically dragged Antoine Winfield into the end zone. Like he basically dragged him in, and it was
surprised you
great.
didn't pick him up on the waiver wire, John.
I couldn't. I would have had to drop some people, and it would have hurt me in the
I
long
saw
run.
him and I thought about it, and I was just like,
I do want to
can't do
show
it.
somebody some love before we end this segment and move on. I never really liked the guy, and he had a lot of hate coming his way. Office wasn't doing good. He had some past Hall of Fame wide receivers calling him out, saying he should get beat up. Derek Carr, he put up a good, sound fantasy game. He connected on those long balls, and he got the win. So shout out to him.
Which I did pick up in my fantasy league.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's keep this moving. We got some breaking news from around the league. What do you got for us, Muffins?
So the first thing I want to talk about, and it really irritates me because he's one of my favorite players, one of my favorite pass rushers, Micah Parsons. What are you doing, dude? Like, I get it. If you don't, like, first of all, if you don't agree with your coaches, I get it. Everyone has problem. I haven't played in the NFL. Sorry. I have played in high school, and I've had many problems with many coaches, but I would never call them out in front of the team. I would never call them out in front of people who didn't play for the team. Number one, you're supposed to be a team first and foremost. All right? You guys are supposed to come together. And he said, well, Mike McCarthy can go ahead and leave. And I'm like, are you serious right now? What are you doing, bro?
He's
You can't
working
be
his
doing
way out of Dallas. That's what he's doing.
I think, honestly, he wanted to be traded, and they didn't trade him, and they haven't re-signed him. So they're either probably going to screw him with the franchise tag at the end of the year, or they're probably just going to release him. And thanks to this wonderful outburst that you just had, you've just cost yourself money, sir, because no Super Bowl contender is going to want to have that kind of negative mindset on their team.
That's the thing, though. I think he's playing chess when these guys are playing checkers. That's what people think, that no one's going to want him. But come on, we're talking about Micah Parsons. He's by far one of the top 3 defensive players in our league.
He was in the running.
And I said our league.
That's
like
fine,
I'm part of it,
that's
I
fine.
don't.
But at the same time, NFL Super Bowl caliber winning locker rooms want to keep everything peaceful. They don't want drama.
That's the thing. They're not, and I just think with all that, there's a lot of pressure in Dallas boiling over.
Well, because it's a
And
bad
that's-
culture in Dallas, first and foremost.
Exactly.
It's
So
horrible.
are you going to blame the man for basically
Being honest,
Yeah,
No,
he's,
so
he's,
I will
he's
not
trying to
blame that.
change. I think there's probably a lot of Dallas fans right now that
That
are
agree with
happy
him.
about what he said.
No,
Oh,
personally,
okay.
I agree with everything he said. But there's a place and a time. You don't call him out in front of everybody on live
well, you got to
television.
think though. You would think that normally, and I would probably agree with you, being that it's Dallas. I mean, it's enjoyable to me right off the bat.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm
sometimes you just got to speak the truth. You got to say what you got to say because no one else is saying it, but everybody's thinking it. So who's the best player to say it? If it ain't coming from CD,
But also stand on business. So when he went on his podcast the very next day, he tried to kind of retract it a little bit and like, oh, this is what I really meant. You know what I mean?
right?
So like he didn't
Yeah.
even own it. That's the part that also irritates me is he said what he said. We all heard it. We all know what he was trying to say, whether you're trying to retract it or not. And
Yeah.
then
And they just started backpedaling.
he tried to backpedal it.
Yeah.
But what you got? What you got, Caleb?
Oh yeah. So my thing, my little bit of news this week. We got Isaiah Pacheco coming off of IR this week. Huge boost to that Chiefs offense. They've been doing well
Great.
with Kareem Hunt. Yeah, right. I know. Like the Chiefs need any more fucking help, but that's a whole different thing.
Your team needs help.
Yeah, you're telling me I'm 3-6. But honestly, yeah, Pacheco coming back in the next week or two, more likely than not, that's a huge boost for this Chiefs offense. They've been running with Kareem Hunt, who hasn't been playing bad. He's been playing pretty solid, but Pacheco, this kid, he
like
runs
Kareem
like an
Hunt.
angry toddler, bro. Like
That's decent.
Pacheco is a phenomenal runner. He basically drags. Like, he's kind
He's
of like
a little Marshawn Lynch.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
little bit like a
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch. He's just dragging guys with him, so it's a huge
Dreadlock
boost.
powers.
Yeah, it's the dreadlock. It's the
Man, they're gonna
dreadlock
have D
aura.
Hop. They're gonna have Kelsey. They're gonna have Pacheco. Imagine if they had Rashid Rice.
Yeah, and then hey,
Worthy, they
Xavier
still
Worthy
got-
starts boosting up a little bit too. Yeah, they're gonna have some good guys over these next couple weeks. Starting to step up a little bit.
All right. So the news that I got this week, I mean, it's not breaking, but it's some worthy news. So Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to talk about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers for a quick second, just for a quick second. Aaron Rodgers did an interview, and he was kind of letting the fan base and NFL doubters know that, you know what, relax. Have a little patience with us. We're on track to be where we want to be. Everything is still new. You got people still learning the offense. They're 3-7. This season is a wash. Let's just be real. This season is a wash. Nothing's going to happen. But as far as what they're trying to accomplish, you know, you lose your head coach mid-season. You got, who was it, the offensive guy that took over? The offensive guy who's never been a head coach and is kind of just lost in the sauce. Everybody's trying to blame Aaron Rodgers for all these moves and all this stuff that's going on, when in reality, it's all coming from the owner. The owner is like,
So are you taking some of the heat off of Aaron Rodgers?
I'm taking some of the heat off of Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers, according to Aaron Rodgers, they're on schedule to be where they want to be.
Yeah, so no, that's what I kind of have to put a fork in that one, because everybody throughout their entire career has been taking one for Aaron Rodgers, and I think it's time that Aaron Rodgers himself takes a little bit of the accountability. I mean, he has to be the leader, the general, has to be the one that steps up and leads that team. So right. I get what you're saying, my friend. I get you. But at the same time, he needs to take accountability.
I mean, I can agree with you to an extent. He probably does need to take some accountability for that. But he's more of just saying that, you know what, I understand we're not going to be a playoff team this year. We're not making the playoffs, or we're not where everybody wants us to be. But you have a little patience and we'll be there. You know what I mean? You get new receivers midseason, you lose your coach midseason. They can kind of, you know, and then you get defensive players that weren't there, that were supposed to be there, they got traded there. Stuff's going on.
Yeah, the Jets are a dumpster fire this year. I mean, they had Hassan Reddick, who was sitting out basically the entire season. Now he's back. Alan Lazard is on IR, so we'll see if and when he comes back. I mean, there's just a lot going on. Robert Saleh getting fired, Jeff Ulbrich becoming the head coach, you know, for the time being at least. This Jets organization is in turmoil, and they can't get it together.
I would just like to see Rodgers get the ball out quicker and move the chains.
He does hold on to the ball quite a lot.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, you got these top wideouts. I know they're able to break away from the defenders. Just come up with some quick passes. Just keep moving those chains, man.
And then they do got
field goals.
Hall.
They're not putting up any points. That's what's crazy.
It's not what he's used to. When he was in Green Bay, he had one of the top offensive lines, and now that he's with the Jets, he does not have one of the top.
Running for your
lines.
life.
If you have a bad offensive line, that's the recipe for success.
CJ Stroud knows all about
ball
that.
out quick.
True.
You know.
Yeah, definitely. If you have a bad offensive line like the Jets do, with a washed Tyron Smith, they have Morgan Moses on the other side. Those are your tackles that they're old. They're kind of starting to slow down a little bit. You need to start getting that ball out a little quicker.
Yeah. Also, too, I wanted to talk about from around the league news. It's been a big deal so far on social media. Debo kind of going up to his punter and choking him out a little bit there.
Yeah, what was that about?
Well, I think he kind of stuck his nose in where it shouldn't have went. I think,
was it the punter or was it the long snapper?
Or the long snapper.
Yeah, it was Pepper. Yep.
My apologies. Yeah, so I mean, obviously Moody missed 3 kicks, and we almost lost that game because of that. So I think Debo went up to him like he would have went up to any player, just like, come on, man, focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
lock in.
Yeah, he said lock in. And I think the long snapper he took offense to that and kind of jumped in there.
But you know
got
what?
in his face. And then Debo just...
As he should. I'm not being on some teams. Think about this. You're a man regardless of who's saying what to you, and you're all in the heat of the battle. You don't think he already knows that him and his partner are messing up? I don't need somebody else coming over here getting in my face about it. So if you're going to get in my face and I'm already emotional about what's going on,
exactly,
you're damn right. I don't care who you are. I may say something to you. Now,
there's two sides of the coin.
Hindsight, I mean,
but wouldn't you want your captain of a team? You see things aren't going right. It looks like the Niners are about to lose this game.
That's the thing.
No, I agree.
Don't you want to step up?
But that's when it turns into it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
captain
I can almost promise you, Debo didn't approach him correctly.
Yep.
He probably approached him foul, and he got the response that he got. Now, it'd been different if you'd have looked over there and he would have approached him and he got his hand on his shoulder and he's like, hey, man, come on, we're going to get this. Good job. You guys are doing blah, 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 blah. That's different. But I can almost promise you Debo did not approach him correctly.
Yeah, I mean, kickers, too, their psyche's a little sensitive.
Right. They're like quarterbacks.
Yeah, but, at the end of the day, I like seeing that. He's tired of losing. You know, like
Yeah.
they're over there working their butts off. They make these nice long drives, and then you miss a field goal. You make another nice long drive. You miss again. Another one, you miss again. Like they're probably fed up at that point.
Oh yeah,
after the third miss.
You're probably looking at the coach like, bro, who do we got backing up this guy?
Yeah, because they when Moody was hurt, they had 2 fill-in kickers. They didn't even miss 1 field goal.
Yeah, well, you got to think that's what I'm saying too. So Tabor Pepper, I do want to give him like a little bit of leeway here. He's had 3 kickers in the last month. I mean, he's had Anders Carlson, which he left. He was kicked out of Green Bay for a reason. Matthew Wright, who got hurt 5 minutes after we got him. And now he's back with Moody, who now they kind of lost a little bit of that chemistry because he was gone for a little over a month because I think he was just on IR and then just another week or so after that. So it's in the span of a month, he's had 3 different kickers. He has no chemistry with any of these guys right now. So
Can I
he's
just
got
ask you a side question? Where the hell do you put all this information? Like, I don't know how you do it, but you have all this information just stored right off the cuff in your head. And I'm like,
I know, I'm looking around like everybody's got notepads.
Everyone's got notepads, and Caleb's got nothing in front of him. And I'm like,
Caleb got his phone that's got his fantasy on it right now, and he don't even have what we're talking about on there.
I
He's
got
trying
it
to pick
on
up
lock.
something in the waiver wires.
I got it on lock. You know what? So it's all right. But yeah, no, Matthew Wright, he had his shoulder injury about 5 minutes after we got him. I mean, you can't. It's obviously a little bit on Tabor Pepper. Like you got to snap
But
it
just
a little better,
imagine,
but it's
like,
not entirely on him.
You put so much into these games, preparation wise, to come out and win, and you have the win, and you're right there, and your kicker's just missing field goals over and over and over again. When others weren't missing it, I understand he's coming off of an injury. So, I mean, we got to have a little bit of leeway there.
Right.
But honestly, we don't know how Moody would have reacted if it was just him and Debo. If Debo said that, say, hey, let's lock in, man.
Like I said,
I'm sure it probably wasn't that nice.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing.
But
though.
the problem was the other guy coming in, the third party.
Well, they were both
getting
standing
offended.
there. They were both standing there when Debo walked up to him and said it. So it's almost like he said it to both of them. But like I said, it's probably, I promise you, Debo did not approach him correctly.
Yeah.
And they were already pissed off. So, I mean, you get what you give.
I like it, though.
I like it. Trust
Personally,
me.
I'm
I'm
tired
like,
of losing, man. Let's
as
step
a
it up.
player, like
Slap
on the
somebody.
sidelines,
Let's
and I'm
go.
pissed off if someone did that to me, bro. We're fighting.
Yeah, no matter who it
Like,
is.
Right.
Not physically, obviously, but I'm gonna say some shit.
We're gonna
I'm
have
say
some
stuff
words.
back.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
just as a little side note, I remember listening to a podcast with Jerry Rice, and he said if the Niners, there was like week 3 or week 4 when we were getting our butts kicked. He's like, if we were playing that bad back in the days, we would have all been fighting each other.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
This is crazy.
But did they play that bad? So how could he technically say that if they never played that bad?
He was just saying if.
Well,
like the
I'm
hindsight.
sure in the earlier days, right? The 87s, the 88s, when they did
right. Yeah, when they were still kind of starting to get it together a little
Yeah.
bit, when they might have lost a couple of games pretty awful. I mean, everyone has that every week where there's just one game where you just get smacked. I mean, the Jets had it this week against the Cardinals. They lost by 25. And it's, if
To the
something like
Cardinals.
that. To the Cardinals, who are, not, I mean, they're not bad, but it's not
They're
like
actually pretty good. The
Chiefs or
NFC West
Bills.
is stacked.
We smashed.
Yeah,
those
there's
Cardinals.
that.
The
is-
record's not stacked. But
No, but we're starting to, everyone's starting to pick it up a little bit. But yeah, there's always gonna be that one game where you just get smacked, and you know what? In certain situations, like if Jerry Rice back in his day, if they were doing that, they would have definitely gotten into it.
Everybody's too sensitive now.
Well, it was a lot more aggressive back then. So.
It's too sensitive nowadays.
you
I
get
think that's the
fined-
issue.
You get fined for looking at someone the wrong way in today's day and age.
there's two sides of it. Like, you're a grown man, you're a professional, you should act like it. But also at the same time, I was like, there's a place and a time, and you got to be a little bit more. Like, if you're doing a bad job at work and someone comes up, bro, you fucking suck. You want to hear that right now? Like, no.
Well, no,
like,
but he said lock in. You know what
Like
I
I
mean?
said,
Yeah. It
I'm
might
sure
come down
there's
to the
other
delivery.
stuff said.
And who knows what the punter said back to him? Like, why did he get his?
Yeah, like shut
Right.
the hell up.
Why did Debo
honestly,
I'm
I
with
think
hit him
I'm with it.
hit him in the throat right after that? He must have said something back too, so we didn't get that information
they
yet.
should just buy each other dinner and get over it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Shanahan did say though, the long snapper, he didn't really he shouldn't have been in that conversation. He jumped in, and he didn't need to be. So.
Yeah,
Uh.
but I mean, I do get it. If
Coming
you have
from
someone,
Shanny.
I mean, I do get it though.
Shanny.
It's like it's the same thing where we've seen like Bradley Bozeman a couple weeks ago when Herbert was getting hurt. He came in to defend his quarterback. It's kind of the same thing. Pepper's coming in to defend Moody or Wisnowski or whoever's catching that flack because they work as a team day in and day out on a normal basis, of course.
All right, you guys, enough
guy.
around
Yeah, I was like, we're
around
gonna
the
go
league
all night
news.
with
I
that.
know this is a long time.
We could talk
conversation.
about this forever. Let's take a look at the next week's games.
Yeah.
Who do Who's your first matchup you want to highlight, Muffins?
So, as everybody knows, me and Angell are NFC East rivals.
Doom, doom, doom.
So, to nobody's shock, I am taking the Eagles over the Commanders.
I have no clue why.
What do you? Okay, so
No
first and
clue
foremost,
why.
we're the number 1 seed, right? Well, not number 1 seed. Sorry.
Stop it.
Let me take that
Stop
back.
it.
I apologize. Correct. Rewind. We are the number 1 in the NFC East, above you guys, and I don't want to hear it's because
Only
you guys
reason
were on a
because
bye.
it's only because you guys. We haven't had our bye yet.
No,
you
the
guys
only
had
reason
your
is
bye.
because you guys just took that L.
How many wins have you guys got?
You guys both have 7.
Hold on. 7 wins.
You have 7 and we have 7, right?
Exactly.
But that makes you better than us because of a bye. Stop it.
No. So
Technicality.
that is the record, but we are passing the eye test way more than you guys are passing the eye test. Absolutely.
Trash.
So absolutely not.
Trash.
First of all, we just
Hold
held.
on. This is the guy, same guy. You know what? It started already.
Yeah, let's go.
This
all right.
is the same
where
guy
it's
who
at.
talks so much trash about his own team off camera, off set, through text, everything. And all of a sudden gets on the air and all of a sudden now he wants to be a Philly fan.
Yeah. What do you guys?
Well, that's going to be a good game, definitely.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. 2 high-powered offenses, pretty solid defenses on both sides. We'll see if Marshawn Lattimore plays this week. That could be a huge difference maker for the Commanders this week. We'll see what does come up this week on a Thursday game. Those Thursday games, you can never really predict how those go. I mean, we've seen it where the Jets beat the Texans a couple weeks ago, and that was weird.
I think we should do a side bet. We should do like a little side bet where we have to do something on next week's show. The loser has to do something.
What do we got to do?
We'll come up with something.
We're gonna come up with something, yes, because I was like, this is very dynamic, and I want to come up with something.
What's the
Absolutely.
game that's sticking out to you, Caleb?
For me, the first one I want to talk about Detroit versus Jacksonville this week. It's an interesting game because, Detroit, they looked a little exposable this last week against Houston. And the Jags, yes, they're not a great team, but they have been competitive against every team they've played in the last few weeks. They only lost by, I think, 1 possession in both of their last couple of weeks to the Vikings and the Eagles just the week beforehand, where they were down 22-0 and they almost won that game. But it's going to be a very interesting game where we're going to see if Jared Goff can, kind of bounce back after a pretty rough game this last week, and see if Trevor Lawrence plays again this week. We'll see if not Mac Jones. He didn't look too bad in his game this week. So we'll see what happens this
Not
week.
to pull off the side note, but the Jaguars almost had the upset on the Vikings, even without Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's what's crazy too. They only lost by 5. It was a 12-7 game. Not honestly, like I said, Jags, they're not a good team, but they are competitive. They're competitive.
Yeah, they're pretty competitive. They don't lose. They don't win, but they're competitive.
Well, they get down
Exactly.
big early and then they try to catch back up.
Yeah, they
Would
play
you call that
know,
competitive, or are they letting off the gas pedal?
They're playing the second half I think is the big thing. The second half is where they really start to shine a little bit, and we've seen that with a lot of teams. Like the Niners is one team where it's like we kind of start slow in the first half. Most times in the second half we start picking it up, and I think the Jags are one of those teams as well.
What's a highlighted game, Angell?
so I'm going to talk about Green Bay, Chicago rivalry game this week. That should be a really good game. Jordan Love's playing good right now. Actually, Caleb's playing really good too for Chicago, but he's having to throw the ball a lot. Like, if you look over his last couple of games, I think he's thrown it over 40 times every game.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of how it should be. He should be the one, putting the team on his back.
And he is. I don't think that it's going to be the beat down that a lot of people are thinking. I think Chicago's actually going to be in this game.
I think it's going to be a little defensive struggle.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
feel
interesting.
I feel like they're going to put up some points, though. I feel like both teams are going to put up some points.
Well-
And I feel like Josh Jacobs is going to have his breakout game. I feel like. I feel like because
Nice
he's
one.
been kind of mid-card all season, I would say. He ain't really heard his name too much out there, but I feel like this game, he's going to have his breakout game.
You traded Josh Jacobs off your team, right?
I didn't have him this year. I had him
It was
last year.
last year. Okay,
Last year I
Paul-
traded him.
Paul has him this year.
yeah.
I'm really interested to see Steelers playing the Ravens. I think that's going to be
That's gonna be a fun one.
just those knock them down, drag out games. Going to go down to the last drive. I love it, man. They're
Yeah.
both cooking at the moment. And I
Russ,
think the Ravens are going to slow down a little bit. I think Pittsburgh got the defense to kind of
think so?
keep them regular point level
Yeah,
around that 15 to 24 points.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see too, because I mean, this game is in Pittsburgh, so it could be a game where we see maybe Lamar take a little bit of a step back going into Pitt. No matter when these guys play, whether it's in Pittsburgh or in Baltimore, these games are down to the wire basically every time. Even when Steelers or the Ravens are terrible. I mean, we saw Big Ben's last year. They were not exactly a stellar team, and I think they won their last game against the Ravens going into the last week of the season to boost themselves into the playoffs. So it's going to be a very interesting game where two teams that have a long-standing rivalry, they absolutely hate each other. It's a little bit of a Patrick Queen revenge game a little bit. You know, he was a Raven last year. Now he's a Steeler. So we're going to see how that plays out into Baltimore this week.
A very good matchup, I think.
I'm really interested to see Baltimore's corners go up against Pickens,
Mike Williams,
and Freiermuth. Okay, that's such a tough one. I'm really interested to see how they handle them because you know they're going to have these jump ball opportunities. Rush just throws it up there.
Oh yeah,
so if they can stop that kind of that kind of extinguishes their whole offense. But I mean that's the interesting matchup for me. What about you, Muffins?
I'm gonna take Chiefs Bills. Again, it was a heartbreaking loss for the Broncos last week. I feel like the Chiefs should have lost their first. Now this week, I mean, every time Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes face each other, especially in the playoffs, but it's not the playoffs yet. But they put up dynamic numbers. They both make superhuman plays. They hardly turn the ball over. The defenses aren't much of a factor. It's really just about them two, and I feel like that's how the tradition is going to continue on with this game as well. Josh Allen, though, I gotta say, you're getting back to your interceptions, my friend.
Yeah,
you were one of the quarterbacks that was leading the league in interceptions last year. Do not get back to this. Stop taking unnecessary risks. Stop taking unnecessary throws. You don't have to run for your life every single play. Calm down. Slow down, my friend. Just breathe.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one because Buffalo and Kansas City, that is a movie, like you said. Every single time they're putting up 30 points apiece. Every single time. I mean, yeah, this is one of the, in terms of like current rivalries, this is a huge one, and so we're gonna have a fun game this weekend.
It'll be a good game. It'll be a good game.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna go Atlanta versus Denver. I'm rolling with Bo Nix. I'm not gonna lie. I like that guy. I liked him in college. I feel like he's gonna. Atlanta, they're playing good. Kirk Cousins, he's adapted to the culture out there. He's doing his thing, but Cousins. But I feel like Bo Nix, I feel like is really gonna take over this game. It's gonna be a good game. It's going to be a good game. It's
going to be a really fun one. I mean, these are two teams that aren't exactly like a top tier team on either side, but they're two really solid teams, two potential playoff teams, because the AFC is looking a little weak this year. So, Denver could definitely sneak in as the 6 or 7 seed this year. Bo Nix, he's been playing well pretty much all year. And, the Falcons, they've been looking good. Although this last week, they didn't look too great against the Saints. I believe they ended up losing that game, which is rough.
No, but, so what I will say about that is in that game, in the Falcons Saints game, the time of possession, I don't know if anyone happened to pay attention to the time of possession, but the Falcons had almost an entire quarter more possession and they still lost the game. Like if I told you two teams were going to play and through the first 3 quarters, it was going to be even in time of possession. And then this one team had the entire fourth quarter for their possession.
Right.
You're thinking they're taking the win.
Exactly. Yeah.
But they didn't
end up happening. One game I do want to highlight, we got Dolphins Raiders this week. I'm riding with the Dolphins this week. I mean, Tua, he looked really, really good this week against LA, and the Raiders, they're looking pretty bad. So I'm hoping, we're going to see a pretty high powered offense from Miami this week, a little bit of a bounce back week as well.
That game is going to be so boring. That game is going to suck, man. Come on. Why we're not talking about the Las Vegas Raiders on this show? We're on to
not
the
until
next
they
one.
drop their damn ticket prices. Then
we do live in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, so
we
not
want to
talking
eventually
about
get
them.
some sponsors around here. So
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Over
We'll
my
see.
dead body, am I gonna ever be a Raiders fan?
Go Raiders! Yeah, never.
Woo, Raiders!
Never gonna catch me in that stadium until until our team plays.
Unless I get a free ticket or a discounted ticket.
True. Hey, but it'll be a fun one this week, I think.
Because it is a nice stadium. I'm not gonna.
I guess I'm gonna go ahead and take the Vikings and Titans. So again, the Vikings almost lost.
Yeah, it was a tough
They almost lost. So I believe, honestly, Calvin Ridley is starting to look like that dynamic number 1 wide receiver for Tennessee, regardless of who his quarterback was, whether it was Mason Rudolph, Will Levis comes back, and still Calvin Ridley comes in and pulls up a dynamic game. I think not only just for fantasy, but also for real life as well. He's going to absolutely kill that. I just feel like the Vikings are kind of getting exposed as the weeks go along. They're not looking like they're up there as far as letting the wide receivers on the opposing team score touchdowns on them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know that, but they're actually 32nd in the league on that.
Yeah, their passing defense is not great.
It is not great at all.
No. And yeah, Calvin Ridley, he's getting like 10, 15 targets every week.
Well, who else do they got to throw it to?
I mean, you have Pollard, but
you got Pollard.
Pollard is a
kinda
beast.
it.
Pollard's solid, and then you got the tight end Okonkwo. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his first name, but he's a solid young tight end.
But the
So you got a
Vikings
couple
have
of
no
guys.
excuse. You have Jetta, you have Addison, you have Hawkinson, you have a decent offensive line, you have a good defense. Like,
Yeah.
you have no excuses.
Yeah, and then you have Aaron Jones, who's a solid running back as well. I mean, he's been playing good this year, but we'll see what happens this week in that game.
I don't want to hear the Sam Darnold excuses anymore either, because we had the chance to use that at the beginning of the year, and we didn't. So that's all I'll say about that.
Time to move on to one of my favorite segments. It's for the fantasy people out there, right? We're big in fantasy football, so we try to help you out. Maybe you have a player or two that's on bye, and there might be someone you could pick up off of waivers that might save your game. Or if there's someone that we feel that is just really going to have a bad game, you might want to bench them. So we call this our booming and busted segment. Who's the player you got that's going to boom this week, Caleb?
I'm taking Derrick Henry this week, man. I mean, this guy is electric every single week. This last week, he didn't look bad against Cincinnati, but he didn't look great. I mean, it's a Thursday game, so it's a little rough. But I think this week he's going to have a nice bounce back game, and we're going to see a huge game from Derrick Henry.
I like it. I love Derrick Henry. Number one running back in the league.
That's probably the safest pick ever.
Right.
Saquon is
Good job.
So my boom, I'm gonna go with my boom right now. Josh Allen, prime time.
I will never pick Josh Allen.
We're playing
again.
against the Chiefs. It's time to knock them. They're going to be 9-1 after this week. Josh Allen, I feel like, is going to step up. It's going to be a great game by him. 4 touchdowns minimum. You heard it here first. Let's go.
4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns.
Damn, bro.
Wow.
That's like a super
4.
boom.
Altogether
4
or just
touchdowns.
passing?
Altogether.
Okay, that's not as
too
crazy.
bad.
That's not as crazy.
Now, remember, we talked about this last week. We kind of have some thresholds just to give you guys an idea of what's a boom and a bust. Keep in mind, too, we're in a fantasy league, and our points are a little different than the traditional layout. But we want to try to stay in that traditional layout so that you guys are on track with our picks. So we consider a bust basically someone that's 10 points or under, right? So that's definitely a bust for a quarterback. And that's one of your top running backs, wide receivers, position players. Under 10 points is kind of a bust, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to be aiming for. And then our booms, it's not just 15 or 13 or 14, 20 or more. So we're trying to give you players that are going to hit 20 or more or 10 and under.
Yeah.
Who do you got for your boom this week?
I'm going to take Calvin Ridley. Like I said, I'm going to kind of harp on that a little bit. I think the Vikings defense is atrocious right now, especially against the lead wide receiver for the opposing team. They're 32nd in the league. I feel like that tradition is going to continue on. I feel like Calvin Ridley is going to go up and have an explosive game. But yeah, it's pretty simple for me this week. I feel like he's going to have an explosive game.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we can roll with that.
My boom this week, not just because I'm a Niner fan, but
Yes,
I want
it
to
is.
give you guys someone to pick up off of waivers. He's still out there in most leagues. Ricky Pearsall. I really feel like he's going to hit over 20 points this week. He has that really good connection with Purdy. We saw it this last week. I think he had 17 or 18, something like that. So if you have a hole on your roster, you can go and fill that hole off of waivers. Get Ricky Pearsall. We're playing Seattle. We always play them good. He's definitely going to boom this week.
Okay.
I think
All right,
he looked
moving on to
pretty
your
solid.
bust. Caleb, who's your bust for the week?
My bust this week is a little bit of an interesting one. I'm taking Nico Collins to absolutely
Really?
just drop this week. I think because he's coming off of that injury, so it does take, especially receivers when it's a leg injury, when it's a hamstring or something. They don't always come back right away. They're not always 100% right away. They come back a little early, and I think that's what we're going to see this week with Nico Collins. And CJ Stroud, he keeps getting bounced around, so I don't think he's going to have enough time to get the ball out as much as he wants to this week.
So
it's gonna
you're
be
saying
interesting.
if you're waiting on Nico Collins to get off of IR, keep him on the bench.
I think, yeah, because this week he's coming off of IR. I think it's going to take him one game before he really starts, hitting his stride.
Okay.
Interesting. My bust is Jared Goff. I feel like he's been exposed. He threw 5 picks last week.
The last remaining statue.
Really,
He's been
truly.
exposed. He's been exposed, man. He's been exposed. I feel like this week it's going to be a repeat of last week, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They're playing Jacksonville, so we'll see if that does reign true.
Now, it could be like, oh, they're playing Jacksonville, but this is going to be a trap game for Detroit. This is going to be a true trap game for Detroit, and I feel like Jacksonville is probably going to have their best game, and Jared Goff is just it's done.
So I want to go ahead and I'm going to go the opposite side of that. I'm going to go ahead and take Tank Dell to have a bust for this week, just because for the fact that Nico Collins, first of all, they're playing the Cowboys.
Yes.
So that team is atrocious as a whole anyways. But you said that wide receivers coming off of an injury like that don't necessarily have a good game. So A.J. Brown, his first game coming back from the Eagles, played against the Browns. 9 targets, 6 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown.
Yes.
Coming
Now,
back.
that's the exception. It's not necessarily the rule. I
You
think,
know what you've done, right?
What have I
You
done?
can't come to the stat guy and try to throw some stats at him.
I'm not
Because
trying
now
to throw
for the next
stats at
20
him.
minutes, he's going to be trying to hit you with stats left and right. Don't do him, Caleb.
I'll take it easy. I'll take it easy. I'll take it
Caleb
easy.
sat up and was like, "Oh, really?
All right, let's get no.
Let's move on." Because Caleb, I feel it. I feel the heat coming from over here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
What
see.
you got, John?
We'll let that one slide, Caleb. We'll let that one slide.
I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
All right, so I just want to let you guys know about my track record here. I've been hitting these busts every single week. This last week, I picked Baker Mayfield to have a rough game. He really did. If he didn't get that, what was it? Special teams mishap by the Niners, he wouldn't have got a touchdown.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
the
the
week
muff
before
toss.
that, I did pick the Texans quarterback,
CJ.
CJ Stroud, to have a rough game. And I'm going to continue on this quarterback journey. Geno Smith, if you have him, start somebody else. It's going to be an extremely rough game.
They
this
play the
next
Niners,
week. They
right?
play the Niners.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking back
Surprise,
at
And
that.
we
surprise.
are rolling right now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
Uh-oh.
That's just your track record, John. You just keep picking the Niners.
Right? Yeah.
Whoever's going to
That's
win,
also a
Niners
part
are
of
gonna
it.
have a buzz.
He either
He
picks the
set us
49ers.
up.
Not CJ Stroud.
He
But
set
Baker,
us up for 3 extra weeks to pick another Niner.
Exactly. No,
Surprise, surprise.
That's what it
no,
is,
just
but we'll
Baker,
see.
but I really do feel like the Niners are rolling right now, and I think Geno's just going to have a rough one. He's been having a rough one too, by the way. The last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been pretty rough. So,
Yeah. And
I can see him keeping on that road, and the Niners are bringing the heat.
Yeah.
We're excited. We got our whole team back.
yeah, and I think Travarius Ward might be back this week. He took some time off this last week, of course, for what's been going on with him. And we're gonna see. Hopefully, we'll see Travarius Ward again this week, and that's gonna be a huge boost to this Niners defense, especially that secondary. So we'll see. We'll see how.
If you're
Geno Smith-
fighting for the playoffs, bench Geno. Go pick somebody else up. Bo Nix. I would roll with that over Geno.
that's
Bo
what I have
Nix.
this week because Kyler Murray's on a bye week. So
Geno's like, I think 4th in the league in passing, though. I was like, honestly, I was like, you can't.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's
Well,
kinda-
those were
it's hard.
earlier games.
I
you're
guess,
not
but
playing
it's,
the
it's
Niners.
still.
when they're not playing the Niners.
Actually, the last game when he played us, he had a very horrible game as well. So we play Seattle very well.
Surprise, surprise.
yeah, we'll see.
All right, now to our absolute favorite segment. We give the viewers a chance to win some money. We didn't hit last week. I think we were 1 out of 4.
The guy that wasn't here hit.
I know, right? Which is crazy.
It
I
was
think
rough. It was a rough week.
Same.
It was a Twilight Zone. He actually hit for once.
I
I'm just
know.
playing. But we really thought these out, and we want to give you guys a chance to win some money. So these are really thought out picks. It's gonna hit. I feel it. But what is this segment called, you guys?
Fire picks.
All right, Caleb, who's your fire pick this week?
I'm taking a Lions Jags over 47 total points this week. The Lions, they hit this almost every week by themselves. I mean, we saw against the Titans a few weeks ago. They hit, 52 against the Titans that week. They hit it by themselves, and they hit this over pretty much every week. It's an easy over. 47 points is nothing crazy. They'll hit 30 points by themselves against this pretty piss-poor Jaguars defense, and we'll see if, Mac Jones / Trevor Lawrence, whoever's going to be quarterbacking them this week, if they can lead 1 touchdown drive.
Not
Agreed.
bad. Not bad. All right, I'm going to go with mine. I'm taking Derrick Henry over a touchdown and a half. That means he's basically going to score 2 touchdowns. To me, that's going to be easier than his because, Jared Goff's my bust. So
Okay,
We'll see.
My fire pick this week: Steelers and Baltimore under 48.5 points. I think it's going to be a very, very tough, brutal game, and points are going to be hard to come by. I'm picking the under on this one.
I don't
You know
hate
what?
that.
I do like. No, I actually like that because they play a defensive games, and it could be very, it could be very much an under.
I think this is
Yeah.
going to be one of those.
is that a Sunday night game or is that?
I think it's at 10 a.m., I believe.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's one of the 1 o'clock games.
If it was the Sunday night, I'd be like, there's no way in hell. But a 10 o'clock game, yeah.
I think it's
I
going to
agree.
be like 17 to 14 around that.
Yeah.
It could be. Sometimes when the Steelers and Ravens play each other, it's like 6 to like 12 or something like that. So you never know.
Yeah, we never know.
But I will go ahead and take CMC to score a touchdown, anytime touchdown. Just for the fact that last week I feel like he was going to pop off. And I feel like had Pearsall been stopped at the 1, McCaffrey was a lock to get that touchdown. That didn't happen like that. But McCaffrey looked great, both offensively, rushing the football, passing.
You can see what he adds to the team. His
Yes.
ability to catch. He's a freaking running back wide receiver.
Absolutely. And then
And he's
last
already threw
year-
this nice lob to him. You seen that, right?
Yeah.
That was so pretty.
It was
And then,
Purdy
important.
was being elusive.
Yeah, there was last year
Elusive.
what he was going on a touchdown streak in pretty much almost every game last year, right?
Yeah, he had a touchdown every game, I think, for like 18 games straight between 2 seasons. Or it was a little more than that, I think. But no, it was 18 plus straight games of a touchdown, which is
so I'm
crazy.
going on. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that streak to start anew.
All right.
Okay.
So just to recap, we got C-Max scoring an anytime touchdown. Okay. We got Derrick Henry scoring
Touchdown and a
over
half.
1.5 touchdowns. So that's 2 touchdowns.
2 or more.
2 or more. We got the Steelers in Baltimore, 48.5 points. We're picking the under on that. And then what was yours again, Caleb?
Lions Jags over 47.
There you have it. $20. That probably wins you guys $200. Not bad.
Sounds good.
All right. Now we're going to go to, we caught some ground up this week. I love it. I think everybody's even. The locks of the week. We each picked 3 teams that we know for sure are going to win. Okay. Our record doesn't dictate that they are for sure, but we're trying to get to that
I had a
perfectness.
terrible week in 0-3, so I'm gonna come back with a big bounce back this week.
All right.
Yeah.
So first of all, what is our current standings, and then what are your locks of the week, Muffins?
So Caleb's at 7-2. He's our top dog of the so far this season.
Yes, sir.
And then us 3, we're at 5-4.
So
Okay.
John caught up.
I caught up a little bit. I'm
'Cause John was
caught
getting
up.
waxed and then caught up.
That's the thing though. If John had picked the right and then the Broncos actually won that game, yeah, he'd be right up there with Caleb.
Yep.
But hey, you know what?
Horrible miss punt.
All I'm hearing is I have the crown still. So that's what I'm
There's
hearing
no
right
crown.
now.
You didn't win nothing yet.
It's a metaphorical crown, Muffins. All right, it's fine.
At the end of the season, there's going to be a trophy, and the last place team is going to have to do something.
Ooh,
Very
a little bit
weird.
of a punishment.
We'll
Okay.
figure it out later.
All right.
All right. So who's your locks of the week, Muffins?
First and foremost, are we surprised the Eagles? And I'm sure. Yeah. We're gonna
This
go
fucking
over it
guy.
again. The Eagles are gonna win this game. I feel like whoever does win this game, whether that be the Commanders or Eagles, they're taking the NFC East. This
You're
is,
not a little scared of the Commandees?
No, I'm not.
No.
I've seen what they did last week. I'm not scared.
This is gonna be a
The
fun
Eagles,
Thursday.
It's gonna be a fun Thursday because first and foremost, they're playing in Philadelphia, and that crowd is brutal. And I'm sorry, I've seen your team play. I'm not scared.
I
Not
mean,
gonna
they're
say
not getting
nothing.
waxed by anybody, though.
Not gonna say nothing.
Competitive. All right. Next one.
We're
Damn.
absolutely waxing teams. Don't let that. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Lions. The Lions first and foremost can win no matter who they play, no matter how far they're behind, no matter who. The Lions are gonna
They're
win
in
that
it.
game.
They're in every game.
Absolutely. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bills to give the Chiefs their first loss of the season as well. Yes, I feel like it should happen last week. It absolutely is going to happen this week. No doubt in my mind, the Bills are taking that W.
Would you guys consider that a underdog pick? No. Huh?
Buffalo. I mean, is it in Kansas City? Is it in KC or is it in
Ooh.
Buffalo?
That's
I think
a
it's in
good-
Buffalo.
If it's in Buffalo, then I say that's not an upset. If it's in Kansas City,
Yeah, I
think
don't
it
think
would
that's
be.
an upset.
But it's
I think
a fun one.
Casey's got to lose sometime.
Please,
So
I would
that's
love
a
it.
solid pick.
They're in Buffalo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Buffalo.
I think it's not too crazy, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't classify that as an upset.
I would say if anybody could beat them, it's going to be the Bills. They could put up points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost picked them this week, but for me this week, I am also taking the Lions to win in against Jacksonville this week. Like you said, Lions. It doesn't matter who they play, how they play. It seems that they kind of claw back and do this every single week. They're doing it kind of like the Chiefs do, but it's fun to watch the Lions win because the Lions sucked for 30 years. So it's actually a good thing to see them win. But I'm also taking the Dolphins over the Raiders this week. I picked the Raiders last week. They burned me, and I'm not making the same mistake.
That's your fault.
I think Miami is going to absolutely torch the Raiders defense, and we're going to see a huge game out of them this week. And then my last game this week, I'm picking the Niners to sweep Seattle in this season, and we're going to get a
Solid
huge,
pick, sir.
huge
Solid
win.
pick.
We're going to get a
Gino's
huge
gonna
win
have a rough game.
over Seattle this week. It's in San Francisco. We won in Seattle earlier this year, and I think we're going to sweep the season this year.
What you got?
So my locks, obviously, I'm taking Washington over Philly. We don't have the time for me to really get into it because this could take a little bit of time, but taking Washington over Philly, I'll discuss this waxing that we give Philly next week on next week's episode. I'm also, man, I could talk about that all day, but I won't. I'm going to take Atlanta over Denver. I just feel Atlanta's the better team all the way around, even though I love Bo Nix, but I feel like Atlanta's the better team. So Atlanta over Denver. And then my last one shouldn't really be a surprise. I'm taking the Saints over Cleveland. As much earlier in the season, I was talking, how Jameis Winston, I thought was going to be the chance that Cleveland needed, but Derrick Carr, to me, with those receivers and that team, the schedule doesn't really, the record doesn't show how good I feel like the Saints really are. So I'm taking the Saints over Cleveland.
All right. I got Niners over Seattle. I think this is going to be a mollywop. I also going to pick the Vikings to beat the Titans.
Yep.
I think Sam Darnold's going to have a bounce back game, and I think he's going to throw a touchdown this week. Last week it was all field goals.
I know. It was...
And then my last game, I'm actually going to go just to catch up to some of these guys, or to get ahead of Muffins, actually. I'm picking the Commandees over the Eagles on Thursday Night Football.
As you should.
Let's go.
So that's an upset?
I wouldn't call it an upset.
Okay.
It's in Philly.
They're pretty
I would
fair.
say.
It's in Philly.
They're pretty even. They're both 7-2, I believe.
Washington's 7-3
7-3.
just because of the lack of a bye
Okay.
week so far. But
It's because of the
Well,
bye.
you heard it there first.
Terrible.
yeah,
Thursday's gonna be
For the
very
betters
fun.
out there,
Very
if you want to
good.
win some money, put
We
some
got to
money on
figure
my
out what our
picks, 'cause
extra
I've been
bet
hitting.
is. We'll post it
Oh, yeah.
on our YouTube page, and we'll
Gonna
post
go
it on
on TikTok
Facebook
for
so that way
sure.
everybody knows. I'm sure it'll go on TikTok so everybody knows what actually me and Muffins bet's going to be for Thursday night's game. And we'll have to do something next week to, pay up.
All right, you guys. Great show. Let's wrap it up with another one of Angell's Trash Talks.
Trash talk.
trash talks.
All right, so this week's trash talk topic is Thanksgiving. The games on Thanksgiving. I'm sure when they did the schedule, these were supposed to be games that were supposed to pop off, and it was supposed to be one of those things where it's going to be like, oh man, we can't wait. Dallas and the Giants. Well, how the Giants got on this special day schedule, I have no idea, because the Giants weren't good before the season. They haven't been good during the season, and I'm just confused on how they were, invited to this party. It makes no sense. Another one of the games was that Bears-Lions. Now, I know Bears-Lions is a rivalry game.
Yes, definitely.
Bears-Lions, the Lions, I would love to see Detroit play on Thanksgiving. I feel like that's going to be a good game regardless of who they play. But putting them up against the Bears, really, I would think that you should have put them up against a better team, make it a little more special. Any of these holidays where there's a game on, it's family time. If I'm going to be wasting time watching football all day, which I will be doing regardless as I'm eating turkey, at least make these games competitive. Like, I feel like Detroit versus Chicago is a 50 to 6 point game.
Absolute.
50 to 6. Like, that is trash. Like, who really wants to see that? We're going to watch it, but again, that's trash.
Trash.
And then I think the third game is the Dolphins and the Packers. If I'm correct, that's a rivalry game too. So I guess they were thinking like, we'll put all these games together and they'll be really good. Dolphins playing like complete trash. Packers are playing okay, but the reality is they're playing like complete trash also.
Trash.
So basically, Thanksgiving games, guys, watch basketball because these football games are going to suck.
It's going to be a rough
Oh,
one.
my goodness. I know they're going to have skating on or something on because I'm not going to be entertained.
I want to interject real quick. I got one big trash talk that just came to mind. Patrick Mahomes telling the refs, he got caught on live TV. Hey, man, when they're getting close to me, can you let me know? And the ref said yes.
That's crazy.
You guys didn't catch that?
No,
I did not
if
catch
that's
it.
true,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Watch the highlight. It's ridiculous. That is proof right there. These guys are not for real. They're cheating in some form or fashion, and that is absolute trash.
I'm telling you guys, it happens.
They're
It
getting
happens.
away. They have these refs in their pockets, and that is proof right there. It's on YouTube. Go check it out. Patrick Mahomes asking the refs to go ahead and let him know when he has someone on his butt.
9-0.
That's crazy.
Trash.
Trash.
Trash.